Welcome to Channel and a stunning turn of events. A Dutch move to seize control of a Chinese-owned semiconductor company has sparked one of Europe's most serious trade disputes in decades. China's Commerce Minister, Wang Wentao, has urged the Netherlands to safeguard the stability of global supply chains after The Hague announced it was taking over Nexperia, a major chipmaker owned by China's Wingtech technology. At first, it looked like a routine regulatory decision. But what followed was anything but routine. Late in September, inside government offices in Hague, Dutch officials invoked the Long-Dormant Goods Availability Act, a Cold War-era law in use since 1952, to justify the state's takeover of Nexperia, citing national security concerns and reports of $200 million in missing funds. Beijing saw it differently. To China, this wasn't regulation. It was economic warfare. Within days, the Chinese government fired back. The Ministry of Commerce announced a suspension of microchip exports from Nexperia's facilities in China, a precision strike aimed squarely at Europe's industrial heart. The ban included critical components like transistors and control units used in car braking systems, batteries, and power grids, the invisible parts that keep factories and vehicles running. Almost overnight, the move rippled through the global economy. Europe's automakers, from Volkswagen to BMW and Stellantis, began bracing for impact. Many factories had semiconductor reserves for less than a month. Engineers warned that even brief disruptions could halt entire assembly lines. For the first time since the pandemic, Europe faced the threat of large-scale production halts. Not from logistics failures or raw material shortages, but from a political confrontation over one company. Then came the breaking point. On October 23rd, Nexperia's Shanghai division publicly declared it would no longer recognize orders or directives from its Dutch headquarters. The company had split in two, one side loyal to China, the other to Europe, each backed by opposing governments. With nearly 70% of Nexperia's global output produced in China, billions of dollars worth of chips were now trapped behind closed borders. Factories in Europe scrambled to source alternatives. France's Valeo, a key supplier to Volkswagen and BMW, said it found replacements for most affected semiconductors. But the message was clear. Europe's car industry was being rebuilt on the fly. What began as a corporate dispute had now morphed into a geopolitical showdown, a test of industrial sovereignty. The West's decision to expropriate a Chinese-owned company reflected deep fears of technological dependence. Beijing's retaliation revealed something just as powerful, Europe's vulnerability. By early November, internal memos from Volkswagen warned that Nexperia-related disruptions could hit multiple brands. Japan's automakers, including Toyota, Nissan, and Honda, issued similar alerts. Britain's Auto Association called the situation a critical blow to an already weakened industry. Behind the headlines, a bigger reality was emerging. Europe's economic model, built on globalized production and cheap offshore labor, was beginning to crack under geopolitical strain. Nearly 90% of the EU's rare earth imports, vital for electric vehicles, batteries, and renewable energy systems, come from China. In September alone, those exports dropped 31%, tightening the noose on Europe's industrial core. Now, the EU faces an existential challenge. Can it rebuild domestic chip production fast enough to secure its future? Can it balance national security with global cooperation without crippling its economy? In Brussels, new emergency measures are being drafted to diversify supply chains and accelerate semiconductor investment under the European Chips Act. But experts warn that these solutions could take years to deliver results. Meanwhile, Beijing is doubling down. Chinese state media has framed the Nexperia seizure as proof of Western hypocrisy, preaching free markets while confiscating foreign assets. In response, China has tightened export controls on gallium and germanium, key materials for chip making. So the question remains, has Europe stumbled into a confrontation it never truly understood? A battle not just over chips, but over the very foundations of global power, trade, and trust. Tell us what you think in the comments below, and stay tuned for more deep dive reports into new economic reality